this court to order, bailiff.
For this most wild yet most homely narrative I am about to relate, I neither expect nor solicit belief. Mad indeed would I be to expect it, yet mad am I not. Hereafter, perhaps some intellect may be found which will reduce my phantasm to the commonplace, which will perceive in the circumstances I detail with awe nothing more than an ordinary succession of very natural cause and effects. I married early. Observing my partiality for domestic pets, my wife lost no opportunity procuring birds, goldfish, and a cat. Over the years, however, my general character experienced a radical alteration for the worse. My disease grew upon me. For what disease is like alcohol? I knew myself no longer. A more than fiendish malevolence, gin-nurtured, thrilled every fiber of my frame. I grasped the poor beast by the throat and deliberately cut one of its eyes from the socket. In cold blood, I slipped a noose about its neck and hung it to the limb of a tree. Hung it with tears streaming from my eyes. That night I was aroused from sleep by the cry of fire. The walls all fell in, with one exception where the plastering had resisted, a fact which I attributed to its having been recently spread. I approached and saw, as if graven upon the white surface, the figure of a gigantic cat, with a rope about the animal's neck. For months I could not rid myself of the phantasm of the cat. One night, as I sat half stupefied in a den of more than infamy, my attention was drawn to some black object. When we reached the old building our poverty compelled us to inhabit, it became a great favorite with my wife. For my own part, I soon found a dislike to it arousing within me. What added to my hatred of the beast was the discovery, on the morning after I brought it home, that it too had been deprived of one of its eyes. The situation was not improved by my wife, who called my attention more than once to its mark of white hair. Evil thoughts became my sole interments. The moodiness of my usual temper increased to hatred of all things and of all mankind. One day, my wife accompanied me upon some household errand into the cellar. The cat followed me down the steep stairs, nearly throwing me headlong. It exasperated me to madness. The fatal blow was arrested. But goaded by my wife's interference into a rage more than demoniacal, I buried the axe in her brain. She fell dead upon the spot without a groan. I determined to wall it up in the cellar.
Counsel for the accused may now speak.
The police evidently found the body of poor Mrs. X. In my client's defense, I must say that if he is not mad, clearly his story defies logic. The accused prisoner X admits to his crimes, but they were the acts of a victim. struggling against the supernatural demons of insanity. He is a sick man who deserves the lightest sentence this court can deliver.
Chevalier C. Auguste Dupin, your witness.
Ladies and gentlemen, Prisoner X is a clever man. In his confession, he begins by juxtaposing opposites. Most wild with most homely. His rage was more than demoniacal, but his murderous trip to the cellar was a household errand. Prisoner X dares us to see the truth. You walled up your wife, as indeed you walled up your first cat. You said yourself that the plaster had been recently spread. The second black cat haunted you. It too was missing an eye. But your account clearly states that you discovered this the morning after you took it home. The night before, it was you, in a drunken rage, who cut out its eye. Continuing your calculated crime, you did with the second cat as you had the first.
That's where you're wrong. I searched for the cat, but it couldn't be found. And when the police arrived unexpectedly, I rapped heavily on the wall with my cane. But I was answered by a voice from within the tomb, by a cry at first muffled and broken, like the sobbing of a child, which quickly swelled into one long, loud, and continuous scream, a wailing shriek, half of horror, half of triumph. A dozen stout arms toiled at the wall. It fell bodily. The corpse, already greatly decayed and clotted with gore, stood erect. And upon its head, with red extended mouth and solitary eye of fire, sat the hideous beast whose craft had seduced me into murder.
No! The murder was only yours. You walled up the creature yourself.
Whose informing voice had consigned me to the hangman.
All lies! Your own confession has condemned you.
Yes, yes, yes! It was I who had walled up the monster within the tomb!
Guilty! Guilty!
Guilty. May God have mercy on your soul.
Yes.